Hello everyone and welcome back to another Batman miniature game 3rd edition battle report, and today for you we have 350 rep of Organised Crime going up against 350 rep of a bit of an old school Soldiers of Fortune list on the same table layout as last time, which actually I think is pretty good just because of how the symmetry on offer means it's kind of balanced for both sides regardless of which edges are being played. So without further ado, let's take a look at the teams, get started. So because the Black Mask new releases still haven't shipped, despite them saying that they were going on to using an app rather than giving you printed cards, would speed up releases, are actually more delayed than any of their more recent releases have been. So no Black Mask crew yet, no Zaz. So for Organised Crime this time we're running the exact same list as last time, which I think is pretty good. They went up against the Teen Titans last time, they might have a better chance now with some henchmen and whatnot on the table. Being led by the Roman, Carmine Falcone. His sidekick is his son? Nephew? I can never remember. The Holiday Killer, Alberto. And then we have, a mixture of hired goons. We have Gustav Gustafsson at the back there, of course. We have the Bull in his Well What Is It pose. Then we have, I believe, Iceman, Showtime, and Vipera, I think. And the Roman and of course, King Shark at the back, who I accidentally called Killer Croc last time. King Shark, and the Roman gives 500 extra funding, but all $2,000 of funding is spent on the guns present, so there's no upgrades at all. And as per last time, with the new objective deck for Organised Crime comes the black market money mechanic, so when they score cards, they earn money that they can spend on upgrades, and we'll see if that matters anything at all as we play the game. And here is the Soldiers of Fortune list, themed around the Arkham Knight video game more or less, so it is very old school, mostly using the old militia box back when Bane was a separate crew. So being led by the Arkham Knight himself, his sidekick is Scarecrow. The Scarecrow can be a leader or a sidekick of this group. And then a bunch of the mercenaries based on the enemies from the video game. Dreadnought Op is also here just to fill out points. But we have the Medic, we have, I think he's just Mercenary 2 with the shield, the Cybernetic Brute, and then the Lieutenant. There is a bunch of upgrades. Jason has been upgraded fully. He's got cybernetic arms, so he has reinforced gloves, he's got extra magazine, and he's got his electronic grapple gun, which he can use as a grapple gun, but he can also actually use it as a short-range, double stun ranged attack. Let's see, the Brute and the Lieutenant have camo vests, so they have stealth. The Merc with the shield has a backpack and a radio. I think that's everything. Apologies if I forget anything, but there's a lot of equipment in this list. So here we are with deployment and Phase 1 and Phase 2 of the first battle round done. Organised Crime are on your right and will be taking first activation, Soldiers of Fortune on your left. There is no Phase 1 cards being played, but Organised Crime is playing one Phase 2, which we did see the last time they were on the table, recovering the juice, which will be, there we are. Target a friendly model may not be the boss. That model reveals an enemy suspect marker and is still in the gaming area at the end of the turns. They have to reveal a marker but then live. And that is being played on Alberto, who will show where he is in a second as we just go through the order, because there's a lot of movement shenanigans on each side. But we have the setup for Organised Crime here. Vipera has undercover, so can be outside of 8 of deployment, so they deployed there. Scarecrow counter deployed with undercover right there. But Alberto has hidden, and he went into enemy deployment zone, which it seems like it's okay as long as no one can see him. So no one can see him there, so he's popped up there, and it is him that is going to be affected by that card. So then we have, I always just want to call him Agent 47. I get Iceman and Showtime mixed up every single time, so I'm just going to call him Agent 47. He's there with Audacity. Gustav Gustafsson is next to the bat signal without Audacity. And then we have the rest of them. Iceman, the Roman, the Bull, and King Shark, who does have Audacity there as well. If we come over to the other end of the table here, we can see how the Soldiers of Fortune have set up. The Arkham Knight is next to his mercenaries, or militia. I kept on calling them mercenaries. And the distinction is important because the Dark Knight Rises henchmen are all called mercenaries. So these are militia. But they're all in a line, essentially. The Lieutenant has started next to that lamppost to get rid of it because it's annoying. And Dreadnought Op is actually started up there. So he's obviously going to be wanting to take that sewer grating somewhere at some point. So with that, we are ready to get started. So Vipera got the game started for Organised Crime with Audacity. He moved round the container here to get line of sight on Scarecrow, shot him in the back with his silenced pistol, which does blood stun. He moved and shot, so he was only rolling 2 dice, having to beat Scarecrow's defensive 4. Only got 1 bullet through though for 1 blood, 1 stun, which is not ideal when Vipera himself is just a lowly 4/4 miniature. So naturally, with the first activation for Soldiers of Fortune, Scarecrow wanted Retribution. First of all, he used a special action to try and inspire fear in Vipera, and being a 4 willpower model, you'd think it'd get through easily, but nope, he passed. So no negative effects from that. So Scarecrow moved in and attacked with a single blood syringe that also does scared. Vipera used 2 efforts, Scarecrow went all in with 3, but only managed to get 3 hits through for 3 blood, so Vipera lived with 1 HP. He is scared now, so he's -1 to his defense, and maybe attack, although it doesn't matter because he's already activated. But that did mean that Scarecrow could score a Search and Destroy, which is a very uncharacteristic card for him to score, but an enemy model suffers at least 2 hits. Vipera suffered 3 during an attack where the friendly model performed at least 2 efforts, and he did 3, so even if Alberto finishes him off in a second, he will at least have earned something. So before we cover the next activation, just a quick note on one of this Scarecrow's rules. He has Psychologist. When a model within 4 inches of him scores an objective card, and he is within 4 inches of himself, he gets to pick whether or not they suffer Enervating 1 or heal 1 stun. So he healed himself for 1 stun for scoring that objective card. Anyway, the Bull activated for Organised Crime. It was not Alberto. He moved up not even his full 8 inches. He was within Inspire range of the Roman, so he had a free Manipulate, which he used to put down a suspect marker. Next up for the Soldiers of Fortune was the Medic, who didn't have Audacity but did start next to the Arkham Knight, so they used their Inspired Manipulate to move forward and put down a suspect marker, and not really connected to that, but put into play a free-for-all, so have more models than enemy models not suffering KO within 4 inches of the centre of the gaming area. The centre of the gaming area is approximately this rock here. It's on this side of the tree for sure, so right now it's actually a really awkward card to score with this kind of like garden display in the middle. He might just be touching it, I'm not sure the Bull is, so it might be 0 or 1-0 so far, but we'll see at the end of the round. King Shark activated and moved up his 8 inches, so he is now contesting that free-for-all challenge for sure, and he revealed the friendly suspect marker that the Bull put down to turn it into a turn 1 viable commodity, so he is now holding the loot and will be worth 3 victory points if he's holding it at the end of the game. It's a bit early to put it into play, but it does get the card out of the hand and start offering up more options. Simple activation next for Soldiers of Fortune, the Cybernetic Brute with the camel cloak, sorry, that's 40k, camel vest, activated and moved up his paltry 6 inches and put down a suspect marker using the free Inspire from starting next to the Arkham Knight. Agent 47 aka Showtime activated, he moved his 8 inches and basically did what Vipera did. He took shots with his little silence pistol, although actually I don't think his has silence, or either way. He shot at Scarecrow, he moved and shot, so it was only 2 normal dice needing to get through his defense of 4, and both failed. So Scarecrow is easily hanging in there, and that was a waste of some ammunition. Next up for the Soldiers of Fortune was the Militia Lieutenant, who was originally going to smack this lamppost, decided it wasn't really necessary because of where the guns are being focused, the attempted hit of Scarecrow. So instead he walked around the corner making sure he was outside of 4 of that, and that, so his camel vest was actually working, and then he just put down a suspect marker. It's also kind of pointless giving him Audacity because he has a built-in radio, so that was a little bit of a misplay there. The Iceman was next up for Organised Crime. No Audacity, but within the Inspire range of the Roman. He moved up to roughly where the valuable commodities suspect marker was and put down a new one. Didn't do anything else with his turn. He's hoping that having King Shark there to bodyguard him will dissuade people from trying to stop him firing his triple blood assault rifle. The Arkham Knight himself was the next to activate, and he has base 12 movement. He's an acrobat for 13, and he used his purchased, it's called Hook Pistol, but it gives him grapple gun to give him an extra 6, so he could zoom across the table up onto the building with the bat signal to try and go for Gustav Gustafsson. He couldn't get into base to base though, and he can't fire his gun if he's moved. Also, the Hook Pistol upgrade, didn't realise how bad it was in 3rd edition because it's rate of fire 1, so if you move you can't shoot it. So Jason is just standing there facing down Gustav Gustafsson. He's got a Kevlar vest though, so, and he's an acrobat, so he can probably take the hit that's inevitably going to come at him. So he had an unused tactical action because he can't attack, so he just put down a suspect marker for lack of anything better to do. For lack of any other ideas, Gustav activated and was like, sure, I'll try my shot at him. So he shot at the Arkham Knight. The Arkham Knight used 3 efforts to use dodge 3 times to take away the dice, so that's where the 3 stun damage came from. 2 of them still got through though of the 3 he had left, and did 2 blood damage. Oh, sorry, I was forgetting the Kevlar vest I literally just mentioned, so he actually reduced his damage taken by 1, so he is taking 1 blood damage. The shield-wielding militia soldier 2 activated without audacity and now no longer in Inspire range. Oh wait, no, he had a radio, didn't he? Well, it doesn't matter because of where he ended up. He moved up and is base-to-base with a medic because once per game he can impart his protected from his shield to someone he's in base-to-base with, just in case. And now it's over to either Alberto or the Roman himself, I think, is all that's left for Organised Crime. And then we've got Dreadnought Op and... oh, I think that's it for Soldiers of Fortune. So Alberto Falcone activated the Holiday Killer. He came round here and he shot his gun into Scarecrow and only got 1 bullet through for another blood and stun. Team Assassinate Scarecrow has done very poorly. But you will notice that Scarecrow is not where he was. And that is because the program, which is somewhat ironic because it features Alberto on the card art, was played as a resource for 2 resource points. During a friendly model's activation, remove a friendly suspect marker to move an enemy model 4 inches. Scarecrow was moved away from Vipera over in that direction, potentially to get shot in the back, depending on who gets first activation next turn, by Iceman. And the suspect marker that was removed was the one that was up there next to Iceman and Killer. Oh, King Shark. Almost did it. So final activation for the Soldiers of Fortune was the Dreadnought Op, who was up here. He moved next to the sewer grating, he manipulated it, and he popped himself out down there on the street. Nothing else for him to do, so now it is over to the Roman to end off Battle Round 1. So there wasn't much to be done for the Roman, he just moved up. Oh, actually, I was going to say he put down a suspect marker, he didn't have audacity, and obviously he doesn't inspire himself, he's not a henchman, so no, that did not happen. He didn't do anything, he's just staying close to his slightly knocked away bodyguard, and that is it. So at the end of Battle Round 1, everyone who has stun damage is healing 1, and there is 1 phase 4 card being played by the Soldiers of Fortune. It is a stick to the plan for having the most suspect markers. The Organised Crime have 0 because they've been using them in various ways, so that's an easy score for 2 points. As far as the cards in play go, Organised Crime, they keep the valuable commodities in play, which King Shark is holding. Recovering the juice, though, Alberto chose to shoot because he couldn't reach any suspect markers, so that is gone. That did not score. But Organised Crime also have more people within the centre of the board, which again is roughly there, than the Soldiers of Fortune, so the free-for-all also does not score. So here we are at the top of turn 2, and it will be the Soldiers of Fortune going first. They didn't need it, but they did have 1 unused pass to give them a little bonus to securing that going first. There is 1 phase 2 card being played, no phase 1s, and it is another recovering the juice for Organised Crime. This time it's being played on King Shark, because it can be played on anyone as long as it's not the boss. Let me take a quick look at who has audacity. Agent 47 down here does, Alberto does, for Soldiers of Fortune Scarecrow does, Cybernetic Brute does, the Lieutenant does, and the Dreadnought Op hidden behind that building up there does. King Shark does, and the Roman does, and then up here neither the Arkham Knight nor Gustav have audacity either, because I think we know what the first activation for Soldiers of Fortune is going to be, and on that note, let's get to it. Oh, play a funeral dirge for poor Gustav Gustafsson, the Arkham Knight activated. He shot his aim triple blood gun and just did 9 blood damage, Gustav, so he is dead and buried. Didn't score any cards on it, but a card was played, the Arkham Knight's unique. This ends tonight. It costs 2 of the 3 resource points. A model with the alias Arkham Knight may gain 1 extra action this activation. And presumably, that means it's an action of any type, including a tactical action, even if he's already done one. So he shot his gun again over the edge of the building. Now he could have shot at Falcone, but he could have just, I keep on calling it like bodyguard to protect me. He gives henchmen the for the family role, which is just protect me by a different name. So he instead decided to get rid of the triple blood machine gun, shot into Iceman, got 2 hits through for 6 blood, and also iced the Iceman. Now, again, assuming that card does allow you to repeat an action, and it doesn't say you can, so presumably it's allowed. That's the Arkham Knight used up all his base ammo. He did have 1 upgraded additional ammo purchased though, so he can fire his gun 1 more time. And I did get rid of a card that would have been a nice score if Falcone died when he was nearby, but that felt like it was worth it to get rid of that scary assault rifle. Alberto activated first for Organised Crime, who are suddenly losing numbers. He eventually did move, but first of all he stayed where he was, which was slightly to the left there. He shot his gun into Scarecrow again, full rate of fire this time, and he did much better, but not quite good enough. 3 hits for 3 blood, 3 stun. I think he's got 2 stun left, but more importantly he's on 5 blood damage of his 7. So Scarecrow is still alive, but only barely. And as I say, Alberto then slightly moved up, still trying to keep out of the threat radius of the Cybernetic Brute round there though, who has kind of like 6+1 because he has reach. Scarecrow activated and once again used his special action to try and inspire fear in Vipera, and once again the 4 willpower model got under 4. It wasn't even 4, it got under 4. So no ill effects there, very annoying. Scarecrow then decided to flee and has ran over there next to the cybernetic brute. So Agent 47 never lets a target get away. He moved his full 8 inches, which put Scarecrow barely within 8 inches, so he didn't lose more dice for shooting out of optimal range. He needed both dice to be 4 pluses of what he had left for moving and shooting, and they did both get 4 plus. Scarecrow is down, and that did finally score for Organised Crime, putting them on the board. A message job for 2 points, and any models removed as a casualty, and that does also give them $100 of black market money. Dreadnought Op came tearing round the corner into base to base with the Bull. He used 2 efforts, the Bull did not. Bull's only got defense 2. He took 5 hits for 5 blood, 5 stun, and is removed. However, as you might be able to tell, other things happened at the same time, so let's just cover that. He used 2 efforts to score a Search and Destroy, for scoring at least 2 hits when he performed 2 efforts for 2 victory points. But he triggered a pinched mobster card out of Organised Crime, so when a model takes damage, including being murderized, when it's in focus, you place down an event marker in contact with it. Any model can manipulate it to move it 4 inches, and once it's in the deployment zone of Organised Crime, it will score. Now thankfully, because of where he was placed, it's already in base to base with Falcone, and I think 4 inches will be more than enough to get it into the Organised Crime deployment zone. So the Bull is dead, but he gave his life for 3 victory points coming at the end of the turn. So the Roman did activate next, and he tried to use his special action to demotivate Dreadnought Op to give him enervating 2, but it did not work. He passed his willpower roll. He manipulated the marker to move it back 4. It is now in their deployment, so that actually does immediately because it's when it happens, score the pinched mobster card. He then moved 8, and he decided to go this way towards where his lovely guns that are still on the table still are, because they're the only things that really have a chance of protecting him long term. Simple quick activation for the Soldiers of Fortune next. The cybernetic brute activated. Not able to reach anybody, decided to just move slightly sideways right up against the corner of the building there. It's a little bit hard to see, so that he can attack anyone who comes around the corner rather than just putting himself in the line of fire, because Vipera hasn't activated yet. It doesn't have Audacity, but does have ammunition still. So with no applicable target, Vipera activated and just moved forwards 8 inches. He's only got 1 health left, so he's kind of being the sacrificial lamb of that little group of people who still have guns on the Organised Crime list. So that is the last of them, because of how many of them died. Oh wait, no, sorry, no. Yeah, there is still King Shark. But there's the Mercenary Lieutenant, and the Militia, sorry. Then the Medic and the one with the shield still to go for Soldiers of Fortune. The Militia Lieutenant activated and just moved up and then used his Audacity to put down a suspect marker, and that's it. I guess he could actually use his, now that he's within 4 of Dreadnought Op, he can say he used follow me to give 4 extra inches of movement the next time Dreadnought Op moves, so why not? So now it's over to King Shark to end off the Organised Crime side, and then back to these two without Audacity for Soldiers of Fortune. So King Shark came round the corner having just enough movement to get into base to base with the suspect marker that was there. He revealed it, which covers half the criteria for scoring recovering the juice. He has to live to the end of the turn, but given that the medic doesn't have Audacity, he can't do anything. The one with the shield does have reach, so he will be able to attack him, although I doubt it'll be enough to take him out, so that should score. But that was played in phase 2, so he is allowed to play a phase 3 card during his turn. So he's playing a Paying Tribute. Play this card when a friendly model reveals an enemy suspect marker. That friendly model places a suspect within 4 inches of the friendly boss. So assuming Falcone is still standing, next turn if King Shark can get over to him and put down a suspect marker, that'll score. So we can cover those activations real quick. Thanks to having reach, the militia soldier with the shield attacked King Shark. Efforted twice to try and score a certain card we've seen already twice. King Shark did not effort at all. He got 1 hit through for 2 stun, but because King Shark is huge, he ignores 2 stun, so he did literally nothing. And then for the medic's turn, he is just using a special action to use medic to negate that 2 stun damage, just to make it disappear. So at the end of battle round 2, heavy casualties for the Organised Crime crew there, but they are the only ones scoring some additional cards in this phase. So we come over here. Valuable commodities still in play on King Shark. Recovering the juice, King Shark revealed a suspect marker and lived, so he has scored this, and that also scores an additional 100 black market money, which actually puts him at 300. because I forgot to mention when they scored the kill, I think. And paying tribute is still in play if King Shark can put a suspect marker within 4 of Falcone in the next turn. Now remember, to spend that black market money rather, they have to be within Inspire range, and it has to be a henchman, I believe, as well, so King Shark can make advantage of that. So interesting, but they got another 3 points, and we're going into the third battle round. Here we are at the top of the penultimate battle round, and it is Organised Crime once again taking the first activation for the turn. They're also the only ones playing a Phase 1 or Phase 2 card. The final, Recovering the Juice, is being played, and this time you're not allowed to pick the boss, so the friendly model that's allowed to reveal a suspect marker is going to be Alberto over there, to see if he can actually live long enough to do that. So that is also in play along with everything else. There's only 4 survivors on the Organised Crime crew, so all of them have Audacity, obviously. Arkham Knight has Audacity for Soldiers of Fortune, Cybernetic Brute does, the Lieutenant does, and so does the Dreadnought Op. So to get that third battle round started, Falcone activated to try and put himself out of harm's way as best as possible. He moved himself over there next to that enemy suspect marker there. For his special action, he used Revenge, which gives him, it's very similar to the Court of Owls bubble, the Kill Them bubble, I think it is. So he's got an 8-inch bubble aura now. Any henchman within or attacking a target that's within 8 inches of him get 1 extra attack die. Also, he's positioned deliberately so that if the Arkham Knight shoots from where he is, he'll have cover, because his base is obscured at that diagonal right there, which means he wouldn't be able to do enough damage to kill him. It would hurt though, but we'll see what happens. So the Arkham Knight did activate, and I was forgetting his gun has a scope, so actually cover is irrelevant, but he didn't shoot at Falcone. He instead shot at Alberto, who does have stealth, but again the scope negates that. So he shot down at the Holiday Killer, got 2 hits through of the 3, and that was enough to kill him before he gets a turn, which does mean that the Recovering the Juice that was connected to Alberto obviously can't score, so that's discarded. It scores a quick 1 point for the Soldiers of Fortune for Catch a Bullet, because he did at least 6 damage, or did exactly 6. So that scores for them, but it did also trigger on Alberto's death. Oh, forgot to put down the event marker, but it'll be there in a second. Another Pinch to Mobster marker to start moving towards their deployment zone. So King Shark activated next, and he ignored eating people to go put down a suspect marker right next to the Roman to fill out the criteria for paying tribute, because previously he had revealed an enemy suspect marker, and then he placed one within 4 inches of his boss for 2. Malicious Soldier 2 activated, just went into base to base with King Shark, couldn't attack because he didn't have Audacity, just to take advantage of him not being a martial artist if anyone does get into base to base with him. During his turn though, he did play a card. He played Global Offensive, which will score at the end of a turn if the criteria is right. Have more friendly models with the veteran trait in play than there are enemy suspect markers. That's the only suspect marker in play currently, and there is 4 models still on the table for Soldiers of Fortune that have the veteran role. So when Alberto was still alive, I was actually wrong that there was only 4 survivors for Organised Crime. I forgot about Agent 47, who'd been hidden in here, and he didn't have Audacity. He blends in with the crowd so well. But he was within 8 inches of Falcone when he activated now, so he did get a free manipulate. So he moved and he manipulated the event marker for the Pinched Mobster, moved it within 4 to roughly there, to start it very slowly making its way towards Organised Crime's deployment area. The Cybernetic Brute finally decided to activate, went into base to base with Vipera, his double stun batons, and did a casual 12 stun damage, knocking Vipera out, not killing him because he's still been sitting on 1 health remaining since turn 1 I think, but knocking him out, he won't get a turn, so actually Organised Crime is out of activations for this turn. But it did trigger another Pinched Mobster, so there's a second event marker there, and a second version of that card in play for the pile over there for Organised Crime. But now the Medic, Dreadnought Op, and the Lieutenant all get to just activate in a row. The Medic activated and simply pulled back, however it did play a card during its turn, Cyber Attack. 1d3 plus 2 enemy suspect markers get a value equal to that roll on them. Reduce it by 1 in every subsequent activation if the suspect markers are still in play. When it hits 0, sorry, you target 2 suspect markers and put that number on them, I should say. If both suspect markers are still in play when they reach 0, that card scores. So a 2 plus 2 is a 4, but because there's only 2 more friendly activations to go, just going to put it down by 2 now to 2 remaining. So as we go into the final battle round, after the first 2 activations, if it's still there, that card will score. The Mercenary Lieutenant revealed the suspect marker he put down last turn, and it became loot for the Soldiers of Fortune, so that's now in play for them. Then he just kind of hid in the corner over there. He just wants to guarantee those 3 to try and negate King Shark doing it in the same last turn. So it's over to Dreadnought Op to end the turn. And so the Dreadnought Op activated, and he had those extra inches of movement from the Follow Me, but he didn't need them because he wanted to move close enough that he was within 4 inches of Falcone but couldn't be seen, put down a suspect marker, and scored Black Ops for doing exactly that. So that's 2 points scored, and that does take us to the end of the penultimate battle round. At the end of battle round 3, Vipera did not wake up, failed waking up by 1, rolled a 5. So they're not getting a turn in the final battle round, which could be very crucial for moving those event markers, unfortunately. There is no Phase 4 cards being played by either side, but we can do a quick check-in with cards in play. Organised Crime still have the 2 pinched mobsters in play, and King Shark is still holding the loot, and they're still sitting on $400 of black market money. If we come over here, however, Cyber Attack still got 2 activations on it as previously discussed, so that stays in play. The Mercenary Lieutenant is also holding loot, so that is in play. But because of having more suspect markers more models in play with Veteran than there are enemy suspect markers, Global Offensive scores right now. Dawn of the final day / final turn of the game. There is multiple cards being played by both sides as we get started here, but the 3 conscious survivors of Organised Crime obviously have Audacity. Everyone except the Lieutenant and the Medic do for Soldiers of Fortune. Soldiers of Fortune are playing their Die Hard in the final battle round, and it's being played on the Lieutenant, so he is worth 5 victory points when you factor in the loot he's holding. And stop me if you've heard this one before, Organised Crime is also playing their Die Hard, and they are playing it on King Shark, because he's the only one who has a credible chance of surviving. They're also playing their Phase 2, called the Dawn, which is Carmine Falcone's unique. The friendly boss is within 6 inches of the enemy boss at the end of the round. So Jason doesn't have any blood damage left, so if he goes in to knock out Falcone, this will actually score because he'll be close. It scores at the end of the round. So if he gets murderized and taken off the table, that won't count. Oh, and I can't remember if I covered it or not, but Organised Crime is taking first activation. So Falcone got the turn started by bluffing the Cybernetic Brute to lower his attack by 1 for the turn, so he's gone down to attack 3, I believe. He moved next to one of these, I was going to call them snitch, pinched mobsters, same thing really. Pinched mobster to manipulate it and move it 4, and moved it back there. Didn't do anything else with his turn though. The Cybernetic Brute was first up for Soldiers of Fortune, and rather than chasing down Falcone, decided to go score some points of his own. He came down here after Agent 47, efforted twice, he's doing double stun damage, he got 3 hits through for 6, enough to knock him out, and means he will not be getting a turn. That action scored a Search and Destroy for getting at least 2 hits when you did 2 efforts, which he did, and also that ticks down that counter. Falcone's turn to put it to 1, that would put it to 0. The marker is still there, so Cyber Attack has also scored. King Shark activated and tried to claw the militia with the shield to death. He used 2 efforts, Killer Croc almost did it again. King Shark used 3, he ended up down here. And he got 3 hits through with his claws for 3 blood, 3 stun, which is enough to knock him out because he's only a 4/4 miniature, but not enough to kill him. And he needed to kill him to score an extra card, so that there's going to be a swing of 2 points, that's going to be real bad. Anyway, he then fled his 8 inches, so he's down here, that's the 3 stun he took from efforts. And he's just hiding because he's worth 5 victory points. And that is the final activation for Organised Crime. So it just comes down to what, if anything, the Medic, the Lieutenant, the Dreadnought Op, and Arkham Knight up there, if he chooses to go after Falcone, knowing it might score 3 points for them, what they want to do to finish off the game. Of those 4 activations, we're going to cover 2 real quickly here. The Medic didn't move, didn't do anything, just activated and then unactivated, but did play a Global Offensive during its turn, and it's going to score. So that's 3 victory points that it's going to score at the end of the turn. The Lieutenant just put down a suspect marker, and that's all he did. So the Dreadnought Op went in on Falcone, efforted 3 times, so did Falcone because he doesn't care if he gets knocked out. And all said and done, he got 2 hits through with his Tomahawks for 2 blood, 2 stun, so he's conscious and very much alive. The Arkham Knight decided to be annoying and used his grappling hook to come down here so that he is outside of 6, but within 8. He didn't put the suspect marker down, but he should have put a suspect marker there. Doesn't matter because it's the end of the game, and it will score a Black Ops as well. So we're not quite doing the final tallies yet because we have to cover other cards that were in process or scoring in Phase 4, of which the Soldiers of Fortune are scoring a Stick to the Plan, which is always one of those cards that takes a while to get in focus. There it is. So they obviously have many more suspect markers, And we can also quickly cover that their Die Hard scored for 2. Obviously their Valuable Commodities did, as did their Global Offensive. So they scored a heaping pile of points there right at the end. Now as for Organised Crime, their Die Hard scored. The Dawn did not, because Arkham Knight stayed away. Neither did either of the Pinched Mobsters, but Valuable Commodities did. So they got 5. Let's go see the final score. So on the size of these piles alone, I think we know who's won, but let's make it official. So Soldiers of Fortune on your left, that is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. 28, very comfortable score. 28 plays 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 28 playing 15. Soldiers of Fortune, obviously one of the strongest, if not the strongest, objective deck in the game. It's very difficult to go up against. Organised Crime, it's the cards themselves are so simple, but setting them up to actually be scored is another thing altogether. They have potential killing power, but they're also weak and die so easily. Losing both guns to the Arkham Knight, like both good guns, I mean, to the Arkham Knight so early obviously made a massive difference. But yeah, they lost bad. Even the 2 points from scoring another message job, which was what King Shark was trying to do, wouldn't have made much difference. Would have given them a more respectable 17, I suppose. But yeah, nothing compared to 28. But, you know, I don't know what kind of list works with the Organised Crime deck yet. I've tried a Black Mask list, thinking that his new gang is probably what it was built for. Didn't have much better luck, honestly. Although I think in that case I was going against Soldiers of Fortune as well. So maybe that's the problem. Either way, hope you enjoyed watching. Thank you for doing so. Hopefully we'll see those Black Mask releases soon. Who knows though. Thank you for watching, and until next time, ta-ta for now.